Well, hello there. So, so people passing by. An existential threat, or an existential. I'm talking about existential. Okay, so it's a big word. It means, as far as from my point of view, it means, what the heck am I? What am I doing here? Who am I? What am I doing here? What is this? What should I do? Where am I going? Where do I come from? And skipping over just, I'm not going to explain everything to you, but just to tell you the truth of it, as I understand it. hmm. The difficulty of the predicament, or whatever you want to call it, that you have, is that I've heard this is the most difficult place of all, and so figuring things out here is really not that easy. Um, you know, and so a lot of people have thought, figured, and felt, and, had experiences, and some have gotten more to the point of the thing than others. Um, and I like to compare it to like one of those Jack Pollock paintings. I think that was his name. He used to he used to put these paintings up in New York. They're just scattered all different colors of paint, on a canvas, and I guess he made good money at it. That's what most people think about when they think about him. But one day they showed how he did it in a video or a movie or something, and see, he was up north, up in the mountains, or and there was some lake there, and he had a dock on it, and he put these canvases on I don't know, on something, either on the dock or on some, flat bedded float or whatever he had there. And then he'd fly over in a plane and he'd dump the paint from the air onto this canvas. So, it's pretty difficult to figure out. In fact, maybe impossible for the mind. There are other ways, though. Um, you have many, you have many different attributes as a person, and pretty much anybody who watches this has to be one of those people as a person who has a human body and all the things that come with it. Whether or not you're a human being yourself is an all other matter. And of course, if you're not human or very human, well, you won't want to listen to me. You won't want to take the time. But if you are, and by the odd chance that the Almighty has kind of brought you over to this page, there's lots of hope and there's good news. And of course, with good news, there's also, once you know the truth, why then, um, you have yet another thing to confront, which is whether to accept it or not, or what to do about it. So, yeah, it's like a matrix or a maze or something, and there are so many layers to it. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's like that thing we have, the Manderbot or something, and you keep looking at it, and it's some kind of mathematical thing they do, and you watch it. It's incredible. I mean, you keep going, and as you go into something, it becomes something else, and it becomes something else. And so that's, it's a little bit like, it's it's not the same, but it's a little bit like the situation that you find yourself in. Well, so a basic thing is that, uh, you know, an initial thing to understand, a key. I'm trying to give you some keys so that you can reach some kind of good realization of what's cooking. as you have two aspects. You have the seen, and what you can touch and feel and all those kind of things. You have the entire universe. I mean, it's huge, really quite big, and just has so many things in it. And locally, I mean, and in your first case, which you should really look there first, because wisdom tells us, like, love yourself, find yourself, understand yourself first. Because your local area there, is something that's easier for you to see, and their feedback is quicker. Um, but anyway, so you have the earth itself and the place where you live, and although places differ, you have the ability to travel. So if there's something different here that works here and then it doesn't work someplace else, then you can widen your understanding and you can see. Anyway, there's all these things that you can access with various apps that you have, you might say, in the parlance of the day. So, I mean, it's like the satellites you can see, they check, they don't just check in the one range of vision or the spectrum of different kinds of light, and so forth and so on. There's infrared, and there's heat, and there's all these different kinds of things that people normally don't see, and they look at the Earth through that, and they learn a lot from that. So you have many different things. For instance, you have how you feel, whether your brain is active and you're thinking a lot, whether you're imbalanced or balanced, whether you understand about limits. Not mental limits, but actual limits. In other words, like, for instance, a limit will be that I'll probably be able to talk to you here for about 15 minutes, and then that'll be it. I won't be able to keep going on without kind of going somewhere that I probably shouldn't go, stressing myself and so on. So, there are many, many things. You can use your eyes. One day you may discover that your eyes have intelligence, and then you don't really have to use your mind all the time. You can use your eyes. It's the intelligence in your eyes. You can look around, and you'll see that things are integrating there, and you can tell all kinds of things just by the intelligence in your eyes. That's a fun thing, of course. But in all those tools, the first thing, I mean, we're going to talk about intelligence, and that's really kind of in a certain way. The word is probably get sick of hearing about it, but in terms of intelligence, you could say, well, the intelligence is the ability to distinguish between two things. And the first thing got to get a new cup. That cup doesn't give me what a straw is better. But anyway, the first thing is to distinguish between the tools that you have while you're here on the earth that are for use on the earth. Going to a rainy place, you get a raincoat, and so forth and so on. If not, it's better if you have the raincoat, so the Almighty gives you everything you need to work in this world. You can see, you can touch. It's amazing. And as they build robots, they find, oh my God, the human being has 1,000 sensors in 1 inch. I mean, it's like unbelievable. That's why they have so much trouble getting robots to do things. And as they go along, they realize, well, things, because you're so well equipped. Anyway, so you have all this equipment. You have all these things that you can use to examine what's going on here. Now, if you consider, or if you have a glimmer, or if you have a notion, or you have a fragment of a memory, or if you have in your dreams or in your experiences, you can think, or even if you don't want to, you can just think, well, okay, there's the seen and the unseen. What about the unseen? What about the things that you can't feel, you can't see? What about the unknown? What about, another aspect, the spiritual, as we say. I hate to use the word anyway, the spiritual aspect. The business of souls and God and angels and different creatures that are unseen or invisible and everything else like that. Now, so those are two things. So just pursuing that for a moment, I know you have objections already, but I'll get to that. But so you can consider, you need to understand that the tools that you use for that process, the unknown, the unseen, something that's more subtle than anything that's, very, very fine things. Things that are too fast, things that are beyond kind of your the ability of your of your attributes that you have to deal with the world, are different. They're different. They're not just beyond, and they're not always beyond. They're different, not to be compared. They're different. So, if you can distinguish between those two things, and you start to understand that there is a difference. There are two different realms. Let's just say, starting out simple. So, coming back to the point about the guy who dumps the pain on the difficulty of the existential issues that you have or may have is that it's so much. I mean, it's like a mess. There's so many things, there's so much stuff going on. Chaos. It seems like chaos to you, perhaps at times, or there's just too many layers. It's just too much. Who can figure it out? And so, the truth of it is that you can't figure it out. No use. Give it up. Don't even try to figure it out. Just give it up. Because, as it turns out, because there's the one that created the whole place. There's the unseen, God and all that. And how do you access that? In other words, to explain anything to yourself about, any of those existential questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? What is this? You can't do it by looking at this painting of all this mixture of stuff, because sometimes today you feel, oh, look at this. This is important over here. I see this could be the key. But then you see, no, there's a whole other layer under that, and it goes on and on. And you'll never find it looking that way. So, the first thing is to distinguish between two different sets of instruments. For example, suppose I want to know is there a God? So I can tell you, sure, yeah, no, there is a God. But let's say I'm not there yet, so I could use my mind. So I say, well, let me see. I don't know. I don't see anything that. The guy didn't come up to me, and nobody said they came up and said they were God, and I believed them because they were so impressive or whatever, and they had a big voice and they did all kinds of things. Although I must say there are things that happen. It go on and on and on with your mind. But if you use the other instruments, which involves something it could be referred to as your inner feeling, particularly when it's moved by the power of God, you can say, well, is there a God? Yeah. Even when it's not moved, well, sure, yeah, of course there is. So there you have this answer coming to you from, the answer to some of your, any of your questions. Where you're going, it depends on what you do here. But, God is merciful, and will take you to the place you deserve to go to, and what you need and everything else, because God loves you. So, these answers and predicaments and everything don't exist for a person who has their inner instruments working. So in that case, the whole world then becomes a different kind of place. I mean, you have different goals because you can see, for instance, that the human being has a range. You can see so far, you can hear so much noise, you can think so long, you can cook for so many hours, you can work in a field or work mentally or do anything. There are all kinds of limits and things you can do here, and your main concern, or one of your main things that you have to look after when you get here is unlike on the other side. I mean, you have a body here, and the body is a wonderful thing. It doesn't require too much, but then it requires quite a bit. So it's like a weight. It's like it's like a thing that you have to take care of. You have to feed this. It has to be fed. It needs water. Things to wear in the winter, and things not to wear, whatever. There's a whole bunch of stuff, as you know. And keep a distance between you and a lot of noise, or have some place where you can go and kind of collect your thoughts, as they say, or just be at peace or whatever. So you have plenty of stuff to do here, and so in the very first instance, going back to fundamentals, suppose you were the only person here, then you would come here and you would get hungry, and because this thing works. Teaches you, what you need. So you're hungry, so you find something to eat, and you eat a bunch of stuff. And if your inner thing is working, it will also work to kind of keep you from eating certain things. And I mean, you have a parallel thing going on. You have outer experience, your common sense teach you, and then things, if you use your common sense, I mean, if something smells bad, don't eat it, and if it looks funny, don't eat it, and if it's something feels very strong, and then coming back to the inner thing, if it kind of feels, no, don't do that. What is that? No, that's a guidance from God. God isn't going to show you with your outer instruments why you shouldn't eat it, or why you shouldn't, whatever, but it's going to just cut to the chase and say, take the command and say, that's not good for you, don't do that. It doesn't say that, but you just feel it. Oh, no. Your hands are alive, and your feet are alive, and you're well connected as the first being was. Why then you go to walk over the cliff, your feet won't let you, and when you go to harm something, your hands won't do it, and so forth and so on. So for a well-connected human soul, a human being, you can live on the earth, and you can walk where you're supposed to walk, and where everything's good for you, and so forth and so on. And you can do things, and you can be kind and loving, and have a wife and children, or a husband and children, depending on your gender, and you can have a wonderful time here without harming anyone else, and without harming this place, because after all, this is a place that works perfectly for us. Why would we want to change it? Or to try to get, and but in that way of things, why would you try to figure it out? I mean, the Almighty, the director of the film, the stage manager, I mean, he put all this stuff up here, and so that it works for you, it works for the audience, it works for you. Knowing what's inside the leaf is really none of your concern. I mean, there it is, and your ordinary way of looking at things would, you can't see what's inside of it. And then if you cut it up in little pieces, you still can't see what's inside of it. But the leaf does all kind of great things, wonderful things. And it seems to be, a tree is better than not having a tree. And, good earth is, So all these things you can access without knowing that much about what makes them tick. Then when it comes to, because you have to build a house, you have to build some kind of shelter, you have to have some sort of shelter, don't you? So, you try different things, and your experience shows you stuff, and you learn what works and what doesn't work, and so it goes, and that's been going on now for quite a long time, thousands, tens of thousands of years, but not forever, but for tens of thousands of years. I won't tell you how many exactly. You know, because it's not important. It's something like, maybe 56,000 years or something like that. I think, as far as I know, I'm not for sure. So in that way of things, everything was good for man, and so he lived in something. You think of paradise. Oh yeah, paradise, that place in the Mideast somewhere. They walked out of there. That didn't work. But I don't myself. I think that it's symbolic. I mean, it's about the fact that if you walk with God, in other words, if your being is guided and moved by the power of God, and you kind of come along for the ride. You're kind of like, there. You're observing. You're learning things. And doing things as well. Sometimes you have to have something to do. So whether you're doing something or not, you're still doing something. That's you're watching what's going on. You're experiencing what's happening. You can do all these things and be in a kind of paradise. And what does that mean? It means that you don't make enemies. It means that you're able to command the animals that get near you that are going to kill you. You can say, and they'll stop. Things like that, and you're kind of like in charge. You have those capacities in you to be in charge, not to be magical, and not to make something into something else. No, that's not the idea. It's the idea is to be in charge of your life here, and so all those things are quite possible, and that's the life that the Almighty intended. But there's a test and a challenge, and that's where things get really difficult. Because at some point, I don't really know why, and I'm not going to be an apologist for man, but at some point, you're going along there, and either you get careless. I don't know what they did. Maybe take a shot. They got all excited about something, and then there was a guy that said stop, and they said, well, no, I don't want to stop, I want to go on. So at that point, it's kind of like a child, and you're the parent. So, if you've had children, I've had six, and my wonderful stepdaughter as well. Wonderful kids. But anyway, so you know how it is. They're so beautiful, and they're so innocent, and they're so wonderful, and they want to do something really bad. So you tell them, no, you can't do that. But it's usually something that's not terrible, because they don't normally like to do terrible things. But they want to do something. They want to lift this rock, and it's too big for them to lift. Or whatever it is, or they want to beat up on their friend because their friend upset them, and that's no good. But in quite a few cases, in quite a few cases where they keep asking, they want some ice cream, you keep telling them no. But eventually, if you watch how things go, then you'll go, because then they start to get themselves into a fit, or they go into things that are even more serious than whatever the thing was, or whatever it is, or more of an error. So you say, okay, all right, just a little bit. Oh, thank you so much. And then hopefully that's the end of it. So, as far as I know, that's how man was. But eventually he got out of hand, and not only, I think, from what I've understood about things, not only because he got pressured and was anxious about something and stepped aside, um, went off and did something somebody told him to do, or his mind told him, or his sexual organ told him, or something. Uh, that perhaps was maybe something he could do some other time, but not at that time. And so then, I don't know, maybe he felt bad, and I don't know. Anyway, gradually, man, a lot of people, not everyone, maybe 80% or something, eventually kind of got influenced by this sort of thing. So they kind of covered the guidance of God. Kind of got lost. So, for instance, here I am sitting here smoking a cigarette, and I know a lot of you are going, "Oh my God, you shouldn't do that." How old? I mean, my God. But see, I'm pretty old, so it's working out for me okay. And actually, 75% of people that smoke don't get lung cancer. Okay. Anyway, it's a risk, but I think I know what I'm doing. But anyway, um, I don't want to argue. But anyway, so let's say that I'm walking with you almighty, which I am. But I want to smoke, but I submit it to God. So there it is, a harmless puff. Well, suppose that I'm off of that, and I've gone away, and I want to smoke. And I'm a free guy, so I get to do in that way of things being lost. So now I'm going to smoke as a demonstration. Suck it really deep, little guilt, blow it off. First thing you know, I get lung cancer. do a similar thing or the same thing. It's not what you do; it's the content of where it's coming from. Because in the matter of that particular case, if I see, okay, so outwardly I'm smoking, but inwardly what am I doing? Yeah, okay, fine, have a puff. So the inner and the outer, my soul and my outer are, like this. They're actually like this. So in that way I can have, a good life, and you can have the same if you want it. You can go back. But anyway, so he got more and more off. So what happens, I'll go down this road a little bit further. So what happens when he goes a little bit more off? Well, he has to have something to figure things out with. And he's in this maze. A lot of things are so simple. There's a stream, you're thirsty, go drink. You drink out of the water. As you know, it gets more complicated because what if somebody jumped a bunch of, stuff in the water. But anyway, but some of the things are really complicated, and they make less and less sense the further you get away from the Almighty. If you stick with the Almighty, everything eventually makes wonderful sense. And it's so great not to do things that when you're not harming other people or betraying, or getting having more than your share, or they get the short end of the stick. You don't have to do any of that. So you really have a very good balanced life. So as they go along in that process, one of the things that's pretty easy to see is that they look more and more to find out something to facilitate their life on the earth, and something that's kind of help them to have a good time here or survive or whatever. So they can use their passions, and they can use their heart. They can use a lot of different things, their feelings. But sometimes those things don't work, and so and then they have the brain, which is real close to where your consciousness may or may not be, or whatever kind of consciousness you may have, which chances are you don't really have the real consciousness. I'm not saying that I do, but I do have a different consciousness that's really cool. Very nice, yeah. Which took a long time for that thing to get cleaned up and work right, but it does, quite a bit of the time. Sometimes it gets submerged back into the other thing, but by worshiping the Almighty, which I know how to do, which God shows me. He does it inside of me. I let Him do it. It's like I know how to worship God. The Almighty, if you allow the Almighty will, and you know a little bit about what you're doing there. You're confused. Just allow the Almighty. Yeah. So, what was I talking about? See, I'm already starting to get a little bit. Oh, yeah. So it's that brain, and that brain is, whoa, it collects, it has all kinds of data and all sorts of things in there stored away and experiences that you have. And so we have the software, the mind, which makes that brain user-friendly. It's an operating system. Maybe not, okay, not software, I don't know. Anyway, it's like your mind is like an operating system that interfaces with your brain, and you can it makes everything so that it's like a good computer. You can use it, and everything works pretty good. Or a bad computer, where but it's like a good computer. So they use the mind more and more, and then so they become more and more reliant on, which is pretty easy to see why that would happen, is the brain itself, because the brain is like pretty far out. I mean, it's like, wow, the things it does, and how fast it operates. And there are all sorts of astounding things and facts and things about the brain that you can read up on YouTube if you want to, or wherever, or Wikipedia, or you can go to the library and read a big book there about. But the brain is incredible, no doubt, and so man becomes more and more reliant on that brain, what his brain can do, and then his mind, what his mind can get out of that brain, what he can figure out, and what he can come to using that operating system, that interface. With his own computer. And so, but as it turns out, most of the stuff, maybe, I won't try to parse that out, but I mean, most of the stuff that the brain gets, the data, it's a data processing. So it collects data, processes it, puts it in different places, so forth and so on. Kind of a computer sort of thing in a way, I guess, or like a computer in some ways, many ways. So, so they become more and more reliant on that, but the information it's getting is mostly material information. So as you get more and more reliant on something that's just getting material information, but by material I mean, all the things that are around you that are material. There are also lots of things around you that are vegetable, but they have a material aspect, and animal, but they have a material aspect. You can cut them up, and or you can touch them. They all have materiality, so it draws man into the material world. He becomes more and more involved in the material world, and then when he gets sick and tired of it, he has to drink because his vegetable, of course, there pulls him out of there. So feels so good. I'm back in the vegetable world at least. To think what it would be like to be in the true human world. Let's say that's actually like an angelic world. Pretty nice stuff, much better than having a drink, and that would only be the case if you had some human fine instruments to be able to appreciate those things, mostly, and then also, of course, ultimately, the Almighty can work through you. You know what I mean, and that can be pretty cool too. I mean, super. I mean, I'm not going to try and be all serious about the words. Either you get the gist of it or the drift of it, or you don't. Anyhow, so that has to do with getting clear and understanding basic things about, I mean, I could tell you many answers to all those questions. They're pretty easy to come by spiritually. Where did you come from? Well, come from the one who created you. uh, and so on and so forth. So as man gets more and more like that, then he gets more and more to think that, he's pretty smart, he's pretty clever, and he can't see anything else around, so ergo, therefore he assumes, hey, I'm the guy, I'm it. It's just unbelievably, it lacks a real common sense to think that. But, he goes there. And he thinks that he's in charge of everything. That he is not the real he, but it's the outer faculties that he has. So, it's all very different when you look at things from a spiritual, when you have the guidance of God. For example, and I'm going to stop after a couple of minutes here, but for example, suppose that you figure out that if you're the best one, or if you win or something, it shows that you're, better, and so, and then that might make you feel good, or get you some money, or whatever it is. So, and you think to yourself, of course, the kind of partial truth is there. It's like, well, it's good to kind of use what I have and see how well I can actually do, and there's truth there. And so you can go down there and join the Olympics and become a competitor and be number 1 or number 50 or whatever it is that is your capacity. A lot of times it turns out, you end up being number 2. You don't get to be number 1. So then, but if you look at it from a human point of view, let's say you have the capacity to run fast. Well, and the next guy wasn't lucky or didn't have that capacity, so now you're going to make him feel even worse. You're going to make him feel bad because he doesn't have what you have. So, and so then maybe he's going to try to have what you have, and God only knows it's all no use. I mean, you run fast and he doesn't. So what? So if you run fast, and you can run fast and get things that he can't quite get, and you can help him have those things, or you can kind of show him a few things about running fast. If you're smart, you can use your intelligence, which God gave you, you have, to help people who are less intelligent, can't quite figure something out. That maybe it would be good if they figured it out, so you help them figure it out, and then they're happy. And you helped them out. And likewise, they help you out. You can't see straight, and they help you to see straight, and so on and so on and so on. So it's all good. It's all a good life when you're coming at it from, when you're rooted in, and you have God is connected to you and gives you that chance. And that's what this gift is that I'm talking about. It's a chance to have that connection back. And it isn't that it isn't in you. It's all, I don't know, it's always been in there. I don't know that, it makes sense to me, but it's there, but it has to be, kind of activated, and somebody has to go in there, because it's way down in the basement, and it's all rusted and covered over with stuff, and doesn't hardly ever get any attention or anything else, because the brains up in the top room, or the hearts and the passions, or the desires, or whatever they're running the show now, they don't be concerned with that, because they have their own realms. They want to live in those realms and pursue the goals of the realm that they exist in, different forces. What might that be like? Like, you know, like somebody like Anne Rand, who had, I think, the soul of a hibiscus plant. What do they look at things? Well, you know, people should be free and they should be able to grow on their own and be independent, and we don't need anybody. Of course, that's the attitude of a plant. So they pursue those goals. So you could say that the world, you know, to the extent that Ayn Rand's philosophies have taken hold with some of the more wealthy people in the world, I guess, or bright people, outwardly bright, inwardly not very bright. No, sir. So you could say the world is being run by a hibiscus plant, the soul of a hibiscus plant. And it doesn't really work for humans. You know, we need to work with each other. We need to be in harmony with each other. Um, we need help sometimes, and we need to help, and we like to give help. And so we're not a little flower that which the flower also, you know, gets a lot of help from a lot of places, but you know, we're not just going to thrive independently, so to speak, and then don't need anybody. So, you know, those are some initial things to say about existential questions, and I'm always going to be tying it in with a gift because, you know, my hope would be that eventually you come to some kind of understanding, and then, you know, God willing, um, you can see, oh yeah, I need to do this too. I need to connect up with my Creator. Makes sense. I mean, if you're a little kid out in the woods, you want to get back to your dad. Your dad knows what to do, and you know that's basically the case. You're out in the woods, looking around, and you know you want to be careful that the big witch or the big devil or whoever it is that seems to be, you know, puts on a nice face, going to try to help you out. Well, maybe they just want to have you for lunch later, fatten you up a little bit, and get you to come to their place where they can roast you in the pot. Well, you know, which is a bunch of symbolic analogies of where these, you know, if it's not the Almighty is the one that cares about you. Just like your father, if you had a good father, you know, a decent father, then you know that your dad or your mother, they care about you. They'll do most anything for you. And so that's the one that, you know, if they're decent people and everything, that, you know, to some extent you can rely on them to give you certain things, to help you with certain things, with love and everything else. And that's how the Almighty, and the Almighty is even more so, of course. All right, so I'm going to stop there. That's a little too long, 43 minutes. I'll probably split it up because I know that nobody has the time to watch something that lasts 43 minutes. So, okay. Well, you know, God bless. I love you. I hope you're all well. I wish nothing but the best for you, and I'm just trying to basically share. I'll give you information about a great new gift that's on the earth, and actually it's necessary. It's a necessary gift because with the expansion of the mind, man is more and more neglects his obligations to the Almighty and his duties and what he needs to do in relationship to the Almighty to have a good way forward. You know, so the gift is here to balance out the expansion of the mind, and the sooner that people understand this and realize it and get on board, they can still go on right on being a scientist, anything else. You don't have to, you know, that's not the way the gift works. It doesn't, God doesn't want to, you know, oh, you can't do that now, you have to come worship, you know, spend all, no, God doesn't want you to spend, He wants you to do what you need to do here. But He wants to help you do it so that you can do it in a way that is beneficial and positive, helps you, helps the people around you, and not something else, of course. What kind of a God would want something else? You know. So that's the whole kind of, you know, initial business of it. The way that, as far as I understand, that's my experience. And I've had a lot. I've been subject to the gift for over 50 years, and it's great. It's the way to go, I think. So I'm just trying to share that information with you, and of course it will make, you certainly have the ability to make whatever choice you want to make about it, or you know, whatever. Okay, bye bye.